Thanatos casts lots of illusions on lots of people, even himself. It's never too hard to distinguish fact from fiction. So why did he have a hard time believing the sight before him? Hel holds Azrael in her arms, bleeding out but still very much alive. Guess it doesn't matter anymore because at this point only one thing makes sense to Thanatos. If you want something done, you have to do it yourself. Thanatos finds a vacant bed in the infirmary and tosses Azrael onto it. Ichor stains Thanatos' cloak, a nice long trail of Azrael's life leading straight to his failure. Thanatos undoes his cape and tosses it aside, not wanting the smell of the wretched man.
Any pain?
Thanatos asks as he searches through the drawers for any kind of potions, a process that should be saved for after he's outfitted Azrael with a tourniquet. The only response Thanatos gets is a muffled groan through a mouthful of ichor. Azrael's coming to. Guess he wasn't as close to the edge as Navon thought.
That must be a yes.
He holds up his hand and a white butterfly flies into the room and lands in his palm.
I could do something about that, if you'd like.
Azrael wails and Thanatos wonders if he could sedate the pain so much that Azrael slips away peacefully. If that were to happen, Navon might not connect the dots. Thanatos has no idea how Navon's power works. It wasn't until this very moment that he questioned whether or not an active hand in the killings mattered. If a passive influence could pop up on Navon's radar, then his plan with Zad would have never worked in the first place. Wouldn't that mean Navon knew the identities of everyone who's ever ordered a hit? Wait, he had no reason to believe she didn't, other than the fact she hadn't willingly shared any information. Shit, now he's second-guessing himself. What if Azrael dies and Thanatos gets pegged for it simply because he didn't do enough to prevent it? The thought has his ichor running cold. Thanatos turns when he hears Navon's voice. She runs into the room, an overflowing bucket in her hands. Acting fast, Thanatos opens a cabinet and pulls out a small glass bottle filled with a sparkling green liquid. He makes his way over to Azrael. Thanatos uncorks the bottle and pours it into Azrael's mouth. Placing his other hand on the man's throat, Thanatos works the potion down into him. All the while, he channels some divinity into his fingertips to give Azrael a jump start. Azrael jolts forward and coughs up a copious amount of ichor. Some of it hits Thanatos while most of it splatters Navon's face. When the man collapses back onto the bed, Thanatos focuses on Navon. There's so much red strewn about, no doubt she'd lose herself.
Hey.
Thanatos says, breaking to swallow.
Navon. Still with me?
He inches closer and grazes her shoulders with his fingers. Their eyes meet and Navon defies the mood. Her lips crease into a smile, and her beauty isn't the least bit fettered by Azrael's ichor.
It's okay.
Navon says, splashing some of the water from the bucket onto her face.
Thanks to you, I don't have to worry about her. At least, not right now.
There's no more of him on her, and Thanatos feels a weight tumble from his shoulders.
Same goes for Azzy. Because of you, I don't have to worry about him either.
The weight returns and it's so much heavier.
Thank you.
He didn't wait for her to finish. Thanatos took off, hoping she would assume he just wanted to give the couple some privacy. In truth, Thanatos needed to flee. He couldn't stand to watch them any longer. Everything around him spins. The room, the walls, the ground beneath him. There's so much twisting and turning that Thanatos doesn't know where he'll end up. He doesn't care. He just has to get away from that infirmary as fast as possible. Breathy pants hit Thanatos' ear. There's so much warmth surrounding him. She's heavy and she smells like gunpowder and dried blood. She's sweating. He's sweating. The closer her fanged maw draws to him, the more he fears being swallowed by the giantess. A soft sound escapes her. Something like a whimper. Unfitting for her. Thanatos looks and she's sobbing. Unfitting. She's shaking. Unfitting. She's crumbling and breaking down right in front of him. Unfitting. She looks just like Navon did when she saw Azrael.
Are you crying?
Thanatos asks, already knowing.
I'm not.
Hel lies.
You are.
Shut up.
Did I upset you? I thought I'd make you feel better. I'm not good at this.
You're not.
Hel pulls away and looks at him. Her face is a mess of red, gray, pink, and white. It's like her features are melting. Navon didn't look this weird when she cried.
But I'm not either.
Navon, what's Navon doing right now? No, Navon chose. Don't. Thanatos sees what a butterfly in the infirmary sees. Navon sits beside Azrael, head hung while he stirs. He's bandaged up and she's humming to him, but it looks like he hates it. Noticing, she stops, lowers her head, and purses her lips. Why'd you stop? Azrael whispers, revealing he's awake. I like that song.
Azzy!
Navon says, bouncing.
You're alive!
You already knew that, dipshit. Azrael reaches for her cheek, but stops. Most of his arm is missing. He rolls back. Let's go to the room. Can't keep watching. Don't keep watching. He won't like it, but he watches.
The Thanatos?
Hell says, snagging his attention.
What's wrong?
Thanatos reaches up and clasps the normal-looking part of her face. Distraction. Thanatos needs a distraction. So he leans forward and presses his lips against hers. It's mostly teeth. In fact, he doesn't even feel her skin at all. Clumsy. A whole 8 seconds go by with him raking his lips against her teeth before she finally gets it and closes her damn mouth. There's a texture about her lips. It's soft and fat, the left cold and tough. It doesn't feel good, but it's a distraction, so he keeps going. She makes a soft sound, unfitting. Another and she's kissing him back. It feels like she doesn't know what to do, but Thanatos has had mortals before. People do crazy things when they're bargaining for their lives. Thanatos takes the lead. He's rough with her because he knows she's big enough to handle it. It takes a whole minute, but he does break past her lips and get at her tongue. It's large enough to fill his entire mouth. He's warming up.
Wait.
Hell pulls away, but a string of saliva keeps them linked.
What are we doing?
You want this, right?
This? What is this?
Hell asks, her face beet red.
You risked it all earlier.
Thanatos feels his own cheeks flushing.
So, live a little.
Thanatos flexes his back and his wings sprout. One beat of his wings is enough to force them back onto the sandy shore.
Someone might see.
No, they won't.
Thanatos holds up a hand. A butterfly appears and he crushes it. There. Now they're invisible. He falls forward onto her. When their lips meet, she makes another one of those tiny, unfitting sounds. In fact, she squeaks every time he touches her. No matter how gentle or rough he is, she whines as though she's never been touched before. Maybe it's her injuries, but fuck it. He's burning up too much to care. He fondles her chest and she gasps. There's so much of her that she leaks over his hand.
Hey,
Thanatos can't stop panting.
do you want me to stop? You don't want me to stop, right?
With his attention on her, she reacts much like if he were touching her. She turns her head, cheeks red and mouth agape. Her massive chest rises and falls in time with her unending mules. She goes to cover the pale side of her face, but Thanatos takes her wrist and pins her.
Hell, answer me.
Thanatos is losing his mind. It's so hot. He's so warm all over.
You don't want me to stop, do you?
She swallows and he feels her clench her thighs. Instead of saying anything at all, she shakes her head.
Good girl.
Thanatos kisses her again. Thanatos sits up and really takes in how much woman is beneath him. He lets go of her and watches her jiggle back into place. Then he runs a finger along her metal corset. He hasn't the slightest idea how to get it off, so understandably he tells her.
Strip for me.
He's going crazy. So he doesn't do the sensible thing and wait for her to wiggle out of the thing. Just watching her fiddle around with it makes him boil. He takes her hand and presses it against him. This should be enough to distract him. This should be enough to distract him. This should be enough. Azrael lumbers down the hall. Whenever he so much as stumbles, Navon's there to catch him. Her tiny hands grasp his boxy torso, steadying him. As much as the sight angers Thanatos, it never lasts long. Azrael slumps, shrugging off Navon's touch. Thanatos is sure to make his butterfly reflect whatever surface it lands on, so as not to be seen by Azrael. There's a brief window of opportunity right as Azrael shoulders through the door. Doing so lands Azrael on his face. It's when Navon drops down to check on him that Thanatos' butterfly enters the room.
I got it. Get the lights.
Navon does as she's told. Color comes to the darkened room and Thanatos is quick to blend his butterfly into the surroundings. One of the burgundy walls seems like the best vantage point. This was Thanatos' first time seeing Azrael's dorm, and it's every bit as filthy as he imagined. Dress shirts, jeans, beer cans, and cigarette butts make a mess of the floor. It didn't matter how much nicer his wardrobe was if it ended up covered in muck and left to fester. The beds unmade and littered with foreign stains Thanatos dare not think about. All manner of grunts come from Azrael as the one-armed man gets to his feet and throws himself onto his bed.
Hey,
Navon says in a low voice that's unlike her.
maybe we should go back to the infirmary.
What, so those killers can poke around in me? Fuck that.
Azrael opens a drawer on the nightstand at his bedside and rummages through it. In a fit, he kicks the dresser, having not found anything.
Hell knows now. Supay, too. Sure of it. They know my techniques. Fuck them knowing what makes me tick.
They can help you.
Bullshit. They'd turn on me like that. I would. The Reaper would. Thanatos probably would. And if you had a brain, you would too. Shit. That's what's got me fucked up. You act like you're friends with these people. Like they've got scruples. Like they aren't murderers.
I don't think about it.
You should. You should think about it every fucking day. 'Cause you play innocent, but you're not. None of us are. Archangels get your ass cornered and they will fuck you up. Because you are a murderer.
That's not me.
Then who the fuck is she?
To know. Someone else? You guys call her Banshee, don't you?
Only because that's what she wants to be called.
I don't want to kill people.
It doesn't matter what you want. What matters is what you did. That's just how the system works.
It doesn't.
It doesn't? What doesn't?
The system doesn't. It doesn't work. You left for a reason, right? And you're protecting me, despite what I've done. You kill people too, Azzy.
I know. And I didn't leave the Archangels. I was fired.
The feathers at Navon's collar shuffle. Her eyes go wide and shine like the moon, and her shoulders sink.
Azzy, calm down.
Azrael looks at her and the shaking in her feathers grows faster.
Calm down.
Azrael positions his hand against his stump of an arm.
I'm chill.
A red spark flashes in his palm, and red thread spews from the tips of his fingers. Like a spider on its web, Azrael tries weaving something, the rest of his missing arm from the looks of it. Only seconds after leaving his fingers, the thread goes dull and limp. Azrael throws his head back, grits his teeth, and stomps.
Fucking shit!
He exclaims, knocking the bedside dresser once more. Navon pants, her cheeks flushing and eyes flashing red. Both of her arms are up now, and she's positioned herself closer to the door.
I'm dry. Can't make any more thread.
He hooks a hand on the last drawer and yanks it open. It's empty.
Damn it!
He kicks it closed. Azrael leans over and runs a hand over the back of his head. Navon's feathers slow to a flutter. She shudders in place and scratches the back of her leg with her foot. As though she's freezing, Navon embraces herself.
I fucking had him! Now I've got nothing. Fuck! Everything I saved up. Gone!
Navon holds out her hand. Azrael looks up, and as soon as his eyes fall on her, she's brought some of her divinity to the surface as Orison.
What are you doing?
Take it.
You need it more, dipshit.
Not if it makes you like this.
You like it when I'm like this.
I do, but I don't.
Navon looks away as Azrael approaches her. He reaches. The bastard's actually gonna take her divinity. This swine. This monster. Azrael forces Navon's hand closed.
You're no use to anyone dead.
Azrael tugs her towards him.
Come here.
Azzy!
Navon squeaks as she bounces into Azrael's chest. He snakes his one arm around her.
I'm sorry I wasn't with you.
You could have warned me Zad was gonna be there.
I can only see when you're going to die.
And I didn't. So why ever worry then?
Navon presses her forehead into him.
I can't help it. I hate seeing you hurt.
Thanatos hurts. It hurts so bad. It feels like he's being torn apart. He's going cold. No, no, no.
What's wrong?
Hell pants.
Is something wrong? Am I doing something wrong?
No, it's fine. Keep doing that.
Distraction. Distraction. Please, please, distract him. Azrael lifts Navon onto the nearest surface, a dresser with scraps of armor scattered over it. He's rough like Thanatos was. Azrael attacks her neck first, and she lets out a sound that's even softer than the one Hell made. He outlines her curves with his rough-looking fingers. He's sullying her image with every kiss, working his way up to her pure pink lips. Don't. Please. Don't let him. His lips hit her forehead and Thanatos gasps.
Does that feel good?
Hell asks.
Am I doing it right?
What?
Thanatos notices her.
Yeah, you're doing fine.
Azrael kisses down the brim of Navon's nose and she's squirming beneath him. His lips brush over hers as she turns her head.
Hey,
Azrael takes her chin and turns her towards him.
what gives?
What are you doing, Azzy?
Isn't that obvious?
Azrael drives his hand up her curves, nearing her chest.
Quit it.
Navon pulls away.
You're hurt.
Yeah, so I want to feel good.
He moves in. Navon stops him by pressing her foot against his chest.
Please, no. Not now.
Okay, when?
When you're better.
You know that isn't gonna happen.
Azrael holds up his stump.
You know what I mean.
When he's dead,
Or you let it go.
that isn't happening.
Then neither is this.
Navon scoots away from Azrael and jumps down from the dresser.
Yes.
Thanatos says, getting warm again. Navon's nearing the door when Azrael grabs her wrist.
You're really doing this to me? You're gonna leave me here? After what happened today? That's cold.
It's not like that.
So how sorry are you that you weren't there earlier?
Can you not be an asshole about this?
Navon's feathers ruffle again.
I can't not be an asshole about anything.
Azrael throws up his arm.
That's my thing.
Azzy, look. Just get some rest, okay?
Navon looks over her shoulder and smiles at him.
Do that for me?
I do everything for you.
Azrael pulls her in again.
So for me, please, I need this. I've got to get that fucking monster out of my head. So distract me.
Once more, Azrael outlines her figure with his hand. He caresses up to her cheek and comes to rest there. Azrael gets on his knees and presses his forehead against her.
Come on.
Azrael nuzzles into her feathers.
Don't make me beg.
No,
Navon pulls away.
I'm sorry. But... No.
They don't say anything for a while. Thanatos bounces between hot and cold. Navon's feathers tremble again, slow at first, then fast. So fast they become a blur. Azrael stands and steps away. Navon turns in on herself. It's a quick jerk. Azrael closes his hand, and all his furniture tears to shreds, ripped apart in a flash of red.
Well, look at that.
Azrael spreads his fingers.
I'm not tapped out.
Azzy, don't!
Navon stomps and tries to hold down her feathers, but they keep shifting.
I went out today to finally take care of my shit. You know, the shit that makes me this way. Almost died. I'm face down with Zad and never once go, yeah, I got this. In the meantime, I'm thinking, fuck, I'll never be able to kill Cain and I'll never be able to see her again. Fuck me if another archangel, my fucking dad for example, decides to stop softballing me. And you're gonna look me in my face and tell me no while you spent the day eating gumdrops with your boy toy.
Thanatos feels hot.
What? Are you serious right now? What does he have to do with anything?
Thanatos feels cold.
Don't give me that. You're always hanging off him.
Because you hate it when I hang on you.
You know that's not the fucking point!
Another glint of red goes off and more gash marks tear into the walls. Thanatos' butterfly barely survives.
You're being mean to me, Azrael.
Oh, it's just Azrael now, huh? Bet he's still Thany. Bet he'd stay Thany no matter what he did, right?
Why are you like this?
Because you make me this way! What about him, though? Does he get this way around you? Does he throw fits? Does he break shit?
I don't know. He never gets mad, sad. He's barely ever happy.
She's blinking. There are tears in her eyes, and her cheeks are getting red in a way that makes Thanatos' chest ache.
And you like that about him?
I don't know.
Get the fuck out of my room.
Azzy,
Go!
please, I don't want to leave you.
Navon approaches him. She hugs him.
You shouldn't be alone right now.
I'm used to it.
Azrael pushes her away.
Let me sleep this off. Tomorrow we'll talk. Things will go back to the beginning. You tell me how to kill people and I kill them. That's it.
Navon stares at him for a bit, like she's taking in his words, ruminating on them, letting them consume her. Then, when it seems like there's nothing left to say, she walks away and leaves Azrael alone. Thanatos snaps his attention back on Hel. She's still trying, but Thanatos knows if he leaves now, he can catch Navon on the way back to her room. He puts his hand on her head, stopping her.
Thanatos?
Hel says, looking flushed.
I've gotta go.
Oh. Okay.
Hel pulls away, and Thanatos stands up and readjusts himself. He's turning to leave when she speaks up.
I love you. Since we did all this, that means you love me too, right?
Thanatos' butterfly follows Navon. He keeps track of her every movement. Tears run down her face and she clutches her sides as though she's falling apart. He needs to be there with her because they're the only ones who can help one another.
Yeah, Hel.
Thanatos walks off.
See you later.